The wrath of Ruth, the Noose Titans. The Galactic Empire's capital was a world of cold steel and towering spires, a place where the powerful dined on luxury and the weak were crushed beneath their feet. On this day, the imperial citadel stood packed with nobles, officers, and emissaries from every species under the empire's rule. At the heart of the Grand Plaza, a single figure stood on the execution platform, his hands bound, his face bruised, but his spirit unbroken. 100 animals. A warlord, a strategist, a hero to his people. To humanity, he was more than just a leader, he was a symbol of defiance, of resistance against the Empire's tyranny. The Emperor himself sat upon a throne of black stone, watching with an expression of cruel amusement as the executioner prepared the noose. The silence before the act was deafening. A final breath, a final moment, then the trapdoor dropped, and with it, the fate of the Empire was sealed. A name spoken in fear. The news traveled faster than light. Across the colonies, the message was clear: the Empire had killed a son of Earth. They expected humanity to cower, to kneel. Instead, humanity gave them Ruth. Ruth Hadrian had been a name feared even before the war. A shadow, a phantom, an architect of destruction. She had led insurgencies on a dozen worlds, turned imperial governors into corpses, and made entire fleets vanish into the void, but she had not fought for revenge. Not until now, the moment 100 animals was killed, she disappeared from her last known location. Imperial intelligence scrambled to track her, but Ruth was no ordinary foe. She didn't simply attack, she planned, she orchestrated. And now, she was coming for the Empire itself. The first strike 3 weeks after the execution, an imperial prison moon in the Arrow sector went dark. No distress call, no survivors. Only silence. 2 days later, a high-ranking admiral's flagship detonated in drydock, taking half of the Empire's 32nd Fleet with it. By the time the Emperor demanded answers, Ruth Hadrian had already hijacked an imperial dreadnought. She was no longer fighting a war of rebellion. This was extermination. The storm breaks. The Empire mobilized everything they had, deploying legions, fleets, and assassins to hunt Ruth down. But they were too slow, too blind. She had spent years understanding their weaknesses, and now she was tearing through their ranks with merciless precision. She struck where they least expected, supply lines vanished, entire garrisons were found executed, and imperial allies began defecting out of fear. And then, she made her final move. The throne burns. The Emperor awoke to alarm screaming through his palace. Explosions rocked the city as fire rained from the sky. Humanity's fleets had broken through the imperial defenses, and at the head of it all was Ruth Hadrian. She fought her way through the palace, cutting through guards like they were paper. When she reached the throne room, the Emperor finally understood. He had not killed a man. He had lit a fire. As she stood over him, weapon in hand, she whispered only one thing: "This is for 100 animals." The shot echoed through the ruined halls. Epilogue: the new dawn. The Empire did not collapse overnight, but it bled. Humanity did not seek to rule, only to destroy those who had wronged them. Ruth Hadrian was never seen again after the war, but her name became legend, because when the Galactic Empire hanged 100 animals, humanity unleashed Ruth. The wrath of Ruth. The execution. The air was thick with the scent of burning incense, masking the stench of blood and fear. In the heart of the Galactic Empire's capital, a grand execution stage stood in the shadow of the imperial palace. Beneath the towering obelisks of polished obsidian, a single figure knelt, bound in chains. 100 animals, the last great leader of humanity's independent worlds, had been captured. His name was a whispered legend, a ghost on the lips of insurgents and freethinkers alike. Now, his rebellion ended at the gallows, under the cold, watchful eyes of the imperial high lords. As the noose tightened around his neck, he did not beg. He did not curse. Instead, he smiled, a slow, knowing grin that sent shivers down the spines of even the most hardened spectators. "You have no idea what you've done," he murmured, his voice barely audible over the silent tension gripping the crowd. The executioner pulled the lever. The floor beneath him vanished, and with it, the last restraint on humanity's vengeance was cut. The name they feared. The Empire had fought humans before, defeated them, conquered their worlds, broken their heroes. But there was one name they had dared never invoke. A name buried in black files and erased from official history. A name spoken only in hushed tones by those who still remembered the massacres, the planets burned, the fleets annihilated. Ruth. She had not been seen in decades. Some believed she was dead. Others whispered that she had been exiled by Hundred Animals himself, locked away because even he feared what she could do if unleashed. But Hundred Animals was gone now, and the moment the news of his death reached the outer colonies, the message was sent: unleash Ruth. The Butcher returns. A lone vessel drifted through the void beyond Imperial space. Small. Unassuming. Silent. Inside, Ruth sat in meditation, her hands resting on her knees, eyes closed. She had felt Hundred Animals die. The void whispered it to her: unleash Ruth. Her eyes snapped open, the old war drums pounded in her chest. The memories came back, flashes of fire and screams, of enemies gutted like animals, of Imperial warlords who had underestimated her and paid the ultimate price. She stood. Her muscles, long dormant, ached with the need for violence. Set course, she ordered. The Empire dies tonight. The coming storm. The Empire thought itself untouchable. It had crushed countless rebellions, wiped out entire species, and ruled for millennia, but it had never fought Ruth at her full strength. The first sign of her return was the destruction of the Imperial outpost at Viros, 9. A station with 1,000 personnel, wiped from existence overnight. No distress call. No survivors. Only a transmission left behind, looping endlessly: Ruth is coming. Then came the fall of the Imperial warship Halcyon Wrath. One of the strongest vessels in the fleet, its wreckage was found drifting in the void, its crew slaughtered with terrifying precision. Security footage revealed only a blur, something moving too fast to be seen, until, in the final seconds, the camera caught a woman standing among the dead, eyes glowing like embers in the dark. The message was clear: the High Lords of the Empire gathered in secret. Their spymasters reported mass defections from their human legions. Their generals whispered of entire fleets refusing to obey orders. She is just one woman, scoffed Lord Valen, the supreme strategist. No, murmured Grand Warden Tarvos. His hands trembled as he stared at the reports. She is Ruth. The massacre. The Imperial fleet met her at the edge of the Veil Nebula. 500 ships. An armada meant to put down entire civilizations. She came alone, her ship, a sleek black dagger against the void, cut through their formation like a phantom. But she did not fight as the Empire expected. She did not call for reinforcements or rally a fleet. She boarded them. One by one, Imperial warships lost contact. When the commanders activated internal security feeds, they saw their worst nightmare unfold. A single human tearing through their ships like a force of nature. She moved like a ghost, a shadow of death given form. Bullets curved away from her. Energy blasts burned the walls but never touched her skin. Every soldier who faced her died before they could even scream. The Imperial commanders tried to flee. She found them. By the time the last ship fell silent, the battlefield was nothing but floating wreckage, illuminated by the distant glow of burning planets. The Empire falls. Word of Ruth's campaign spread like wildfire. Humanity, long subjugated, rose in unison. Planets revolted. Generals defected. The Imperial war machine ground to a halt, paralyzed by fear and chaos. The High Lords, once the undisputed rulers of the galaxy, found themselves hunted. One by one, they fell, and at the heart of it all was Ruth. When she reached the Imperial palace, she did not find an army waiting. Only silence. The last High Lord, trembling and broken, knelt before her. "You can't kill me," he whispered. "You need someone to surrender." She tilted her head. "No," she said simply, and then she ended the Empire with a single stroke. Epilogue. The legend of Ruth. No one knew what became of her after that final day. Some say she vanished into the void, returning to whatever abyss had birthed her. Others claim she still walks among the stars, waiting for the next war to summon her wrath once more. But every empire that rose afterward remembered one thing: there are lines you do not cross, there are people you do not kill, and above all, you do not unleash Ruth.